ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले प्रभुपादकृत्य श्रीगिरिराजाय स्वामिने सुवक्त्रनररास बिहारिभ्यं भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं। हरे कृष्ण। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 4, the Hamsa Guhya prayers offered to the Lord by Prajapati Daksha. So Prajapati Daksha again appeared on the scene. You can read.
Hare Krishna. The Hamsa Guhya prayers offered to the Lord by Prajapati Daksha. After Maharaj Parikshit appealed to Sukadev Goswami to describe in further detail the creation of living entities within this universe, Sukadev Goswami informed him that when the Prachetas, the 10 sons of Prachinabarhi, entered the sea to execute austerities, the planet Earth was neglected because of the absence of a king. Naturally, many weeds and unnecessary trees grew, and no food grains were produced. Indeed, all the land became like a forest. When the 10 Prachetas came out of the sea and saw the entire world full of trees, they were very angry with the trees and decided to destroy them all to rectify the situation. Thus, the Prachetas created wind and fire to burn the trees to the ashes. Som, however, the king of the moon and the king of all vegetation, forbade the Prachetas to destroy the trees, since the trees are the source of fruit and flowers for all living beings. Just to satisfy the Prachetas, Som gave them a beautiful girl born of Pramlocha Apsara. By the semen of all the Prachetas, Daksha was born of that girl. In the beginning, Daksha created all the demigods, demon, and human beings. But when he found the population not increasing properly, he took sannyas and went to Vindhya mountain, where he underwent severe austerities and offered Lord Vishnu a particular prayer known as Hamsa Guhya, by which Lord Vishnu became very pleased with him. The contents of the prayer were as follows: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, Lord Hari, is the controller of both the living entities and the material nature. He is self sufficient and self effulgent. As the subject matter of perception is not the cause of our perceiving senses, so the living entity, although within his body, does not cause his eternal friend, the super soul, who is the cause of creation of all senses. Because of the living entity's ignorance, his senses are engaged with material objects. Since the living entity is alive, he can understand the creation of this material world to some extent. But he cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the conception of body, mind, and intelligence. Nevertheless, great sages who are always in meditation can see the personal form of the Lord within their hearts. Since an ordinary living being is materially contaminated, his words and intelligence are also material. Therefore, he cannot ascertain the Supreme Personality of Godhead by manipulating his material senses. The conception of God derived through the material senses is inaccurate because the Supreme Lord is beyond the material senses. But when one engages his senses in devotional service, the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed on the platform of the soul. When that Supreme Godhead becomes the aim of one's life, one is said to have attained spiritual knowledge. The Supreme Brahman is the cause of all causes because he originally existed before the creation. He is the original cause of everything because material and spiritual and his existence is independent. However, the Lord has the potency called avidya, the illusionary energy, which induces the false arguer to think himself perfect and which induces the illusionary energy to bewilder the conditioned soul. The Supreme Brahman, the Super Soul, is very affectionate to his devotees. To bestow mercy upon them, he discloses his form, name, attributes, and qualities to be worshipped within this material world. Unfortunately, however, those who are materially absorbed worship various demigods. As the air passes over a lotus flower and carries the scent of the flower with it, or as the air sometimes carries dust and therefore assume colors, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears as the various demigods according to the desires of his various foolish worshippers. But actually, he is the supreme truth, Lord Vishnu. To fulfill the desires of his devotees, he appears in various incarnations, and therefore there is no need to worship the demigods. Being very satisfied by the prayers of Daksha, Lord Vishnu appeared before Daksha with 8 arms. The Lord was dressed in yellow garments and had a blackish complexion. Understanding that Daksha was very eager to follow the path of enjoyment, the Lord awarded him the potency to enjoy the illusionary energy. The Lord offered him the daughter of Panchajanya named Asikni, who was suitable for Maharaj Daksha to enjoy in sex. Indeed, Daksha received his name because he was very expert in sex life. After awarding his benedictions, Lord Vishnu disappeared.
Right, so this is about Prajapati, and we owe our bodies to him, right? Prajapati, Daksha. So we can't criticize him. We're in the same chakra as him. Shri Rajovacha Devasuraninam Sargo Naganam Mrigapakshinam Samasiksha Staya Putto Tasyaiva Vyasam Ichchami Gyatum Te Bhagavan Yatha Anusargam Yaya Shaktya Sasaraja Bhagavan Paraha. So the blessed king said to Shukadev Goswami, who is the king? Which king? Yeah. My dear Lord, the demigods, demons, human beings, nagas, beasts and birds were created during the reign of Swayambhuva Manu. You have spoken about this creation briefly in the third canto. Now I wish to know about it elaborately. I also wish to know about the potency of the Supreme Person of Godhead by which he brought about the secondary creation. So we remember what is the primary creation. What is the primary creation? Yeah, so what does he manifest? What does he manifest? What is the primary creation? No. He manifests the the elements, right? The pradhan, right? But what is the secondary creation? The engineer, right? Secondary creation meaning now these are all the secondary creations. Yeah, and the sthanam also. Actually, even the universe. It's like the seed of universe is there, but it's not actually divided, right? Little complicated in different places is different things. What is this secondary creation? But at least we remember that Pradhan, it's like the Supreme Lord, he agitates this material energy called Pradhan. And then this creation begins.
Pradhan has all the 5 elements.
24 elements.
Okay, and the ego, the intelligence, the mind,
Pradhan.
and all the
Pradhan has 24 elements. So she's like awakened. This is a material that's awakened. Okay, Shri Sutta Uvacha Iti Samprashnam Akarnya Rajarshe Badarayanihi Pratinandya Mahayogi Jagadha Muni Sattamaha. Sutta Goswami said, O great sages, assemble at Naimisharanya. After the great yogi Shukadev Goswami heard King Parikshit's inquiry, he praised it and thus replied, lucky Maharaj Parikshit asked all these questions, otherwise we never knew, right? You are such questions. So I think we read in Ishopanishad, Shishopanishad, that we should know side by side the path of Vidya and Avidya. Practically, this is the path of Avidya that is being described here, right? Text 4. Shri Shuka Uvacha Yada Pracheta Purusha Putra Dasha Prachina Barhishaha Anta Samudrad Unmagna Dadrashurgam Drumer Vritam. Shukdev Goswami said, when the 10 sons of Prachina Barhi emerged from the waters in which they were performing austerities, they saw that the entire surface of the world was covered by trees. I'm just going to read fast because this is all, so much information Prabhupada gives, practical information for living in this world, but which is very important because we are all concerned with the material world and how to survive. And in these few purpose, Prabhupada gives the blueprint, the actual blueprint for subsistence. When King Prachina Barhi was performing Vedic rituals in which the killing of animals were recommended, Narad Muni, out of compassion, advised him to stop. You remember the whole story, chapter after chapter, right? Prachina Barhi understood Narad properly and then left the kingdom to perform austerities in the forest. His 10 sons, however, were performing austerities within the water, and therefore there was no king to see to the management of the world. When the 10 sons, the Prachetas, came out of the water, they saw that the earth was overrun with trees. So we remember King Prachina Barhi. He got so convinced that he didn't even wait for his sons to come back. He just left. But it was a lot of drilling, right, from Narad Muni. Now, we should listen to this properly. When the government neglects agriculture, because this is our problem right now, right? Why is it that we are all sick? Why is it that we can't walk? Our grandmothers walked into their 90s. Why is it that in the 40s we are not able to walk? Here it is. When the government neglects agriculture, which is necessary for the production of food, the land becomes covered with unnecessary trees. Now, of course, they cut the trees and they make paper, they make tissue paper. Writing paper and tissue paper. Of course, many trees are useful because they produce fruits and flowers, but many other trees are unnecessary. Actually, I thought it's so important to teach the children that the ecology, proper speaking of ecology here. There's so much about the environment. So because people mess up the environment, like I'm saying in Delhi, I don't know how Delhi became such a polluted because of industries, is it? All industries are. Huh? Oh.
But also the Haryana, those farmers, they are not able to clear their waste and they are burning it, and that is also creating a lot of smoke. Every year it happens during winter.
Oh. Anyway, so obviously, that was Hastinapur, was it? I don't think there was any problem at that time. So now we have created all industries. So Prabhupada is saying that when the land gets overrun with unnecessary trees, like these thorny bushes and all that, which is useless. So Prabhupada is saying that trees which are useful, fruit trees and flowers, right? These should be maintained. I remember somebody told me that how they made the roads and then they cut useful trees because those trees were giving shade. So now the farmers, they suffer because there's no tree. Where will they go for shade? Right? So no planning, no brain actually. Varnashram system is gone. So everything is done in a very haphazard way. So everybody suffers. Yeah. So these unnecessary trees, what do we do with them? They could be used as fuel and the land cleared and used for agriculture. You know, just I was having one class and there was no gas, you know, yesterday there was no gas in the kitchen also. So I said that when I was a child, you know, they cooked in wood, right? Everywhere they cooked in wood. And this girl is looking at me like totally shocked as if it's primitive, right? And here Prabhupada is saying, right, how you can save gas because gas you have to remove, right?
From the sea
You
refinery.
have to remove. Gas come from the sea. I don't know from where it comes. See, I don't know my geography and geology, and I don't know. Where do gas come from?
Particular center they get it from
Y-
in cylinders.
No. I'm saying, where do they remove the gas?
I
Okay.
think it is the refineries. They have to
So,
go to deep sea to break.
so now, and meaning that it's so difficult, right? So difficult. So these unnecessary trees could be used as fuel and the land cleared and used for agriculture. When the government is negligent, less grain is produced. And that's why the food stuff become expensive, right? Everything that you see around become expensive because we are not producing sufficient. If every home is producing their own food, then everything becomes less, right? As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.44, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. The proper engagements for Vaishyas according to their nature are to farm and to protect cows. The duty of the government and the Kshatriyas is to see that the members of the third class, the Vaishyas, who are neither Brahmanas nor Kshatriyas, are thus properly engaged. Kshatriyas are meant to protect human beings, whereas Vaishyas are meant to protect useful animals, especially cows. I mean, what is system, right? What is system, right? Meaning that the Kshatriyas, they are protecting the human beings, right? So, meaning that they don't allow criminals in the country. They don't like outside hooligans to come in and capture and dominate and loot you, right? So, no Kshatriyas. So, and the Kshatriyas, they will make sure that the farmers, the Vaishyas, so they are farmers and they are taking care of the cows. They do a little bit of business. Now we have closed down everything. We speak only of business, right? So the Kshatriyas, they protect human beings and the Vaishyas are meant to protect the useful animals. So they produce the food and they protect the cows. Yeah.
I wanted to tell you, since you asked about gas, and it is
Yeah.
very important information.
Okay.
Gas is not a natural resource. The natural resource is the oil. And
Oh.
this oil is the crude oil which they go deep into the sea and they drill and they take it out.
Oh.
And when they convert the oil, that crude oil, that crude oil in the refinery, when they vaporize it at a very high temperature, that is the LPG gas.
Oh my God.
So gas is a
Oil.
money, it's a artificial thing, but the main thing is your natural resource. So these are the refineries who go deep into the sea and they dig the sea and they
Okay.
take out the crude
Okay,
oil.
yeah. So that's why it didn't make sense to me. How can you pull gas from the sea, right? just by common sense, it didn't click. So I say, how is it possible? So meaning it is oil,
Yes, it is
oil in
crude
the
oil.
oil in the ocean.
Yes.
Where?
Yes.
Where?
And they go
Petroleum?
drilling. They go take
Huh?
a submarine and they
Huh?
drill the ocean and they take
Oh
out.
my God, we have to do a little research on all this. Huh?
We were taught in the
Petroleum. Petroleum now is all in the desert area, right? Petroleum. That's why they're fighting to capture all these. Yeah?
Yes. This is also there. Well, it's all interesting. If we go there, then it's a
Well, here
full
it is.
class on that.
Prabhupada is speaking about it, right?
geography.
Petroleum and say actually that's how there was imbalance in the earth, like Hiranyaksha, because earth is balanced, so they put heavy metals, right? There must be this liquid also, right? So when we pull, whatever we do, to remove all that, instead of, here Prabhupada is explaining the useless trees, right? The useless trees, they're cut down and they made into fuel. Now you have to go in the ocean, you have to pull out, right, the oil, then you have to burn it, and you have to make sure it doesn't just vanish, right?
Yeah.
You have to capture it.
Yeah, you have to
What
build a full refinery.
right?
Such a high.
Yeah, my God.
Just take two
Reliance
sticks.
Petroleum.
All right.
Take two sticks, burn, and nice chula.
Yeah, yeah.
But nowadays, even in Mayapur, they still do it.
No, I'm just saying, we follow the mass, right? We follow the time, the era. But here Prabhupada is explaining. Oh my God, that's why Prabhupada revolts against all this, because this is the civilization of the Asuras. And therefore, so much environmental issues. A good book to read is Science of Self-Realization. Prabhupada discusses with so many people about this. Anyway, next. Drumebhya krudhyamanaste tapodipitamanhyavaha mukhato vayum agnim cha sashrischustadidhakshaya. Because of having undergone long austerities in the water, the Prachetas were very angry at the trees. Desiring to burn them to usher, they generated wind and fire from their mouth. There was a picture, I was looking for that picture, it's not in this Bhagavatam. So, see, now Prabhupada is speaking of ecology in the previous chapter. Now he's going to speak about behavior. Here the word tapodipita manyavaha indicates that persons who have undergone severe austerity tapasya or endowed with great mystic power, as evinced by the Prachetas who created fire and wind from their mouth. So remember the Prachetas, we were so charmed by them, right? And now they come out from their austerities, and what they are doing?
They're showing their prowess.
All right? They have undergone, I don't know how many years and years of severe austerities. 10,000 years of austerities, just see, right? So they came out angry. They come out, oh, you have overtaken our kingdom. So boom, burn you down. Now Prabhupada make a contrast with the devotees. He said the austerity of the devotees is preaching. Because when we preach, we have to meet all types of people. We have to hear so many things, right? So what do the devotees do? All the devotees undergo severe tapasya. However, they are vimanyavaha sadhava, which means that they are never angry. They are always decorated with good qualities. Bhagavatam 3.25.21 states, Titikshava karunikaha surida sarvadehinam ajata shatravaha shantaha sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. A sadhu, a devotee is never angry. I hope so. Huh? Actually, the real feature of devotees who undergo tapasya austerity is forgiveness. meaning your heart has become soft. Whereas the Prachetas, by doing all these severe austerities, their heart became hard. That's why all these type of austerities is not recommended. If you cannot feel the pain of others, if you can't feel your own pain, you can't feel the pain of others. If you'll go on fasting, for so many days, Chaturmasya, right? If somebody else is weak and hungry, you can't understand. You criticize, right? Isn't it? If you are walking bare feet everywhere, right? And you say, why? Why are you walking with shoes? Right? Our own devotees do it, right? We criticize. So here, see, bhakti, all that my Guru Maharaj words in my ear, that's why I'm speaking all this. Nectar of devotion, this is all taught. Why? What is the difference? Why is it that devotees, they don't do this type of austerity? Because the heart becomes hard and therefore they become harsh in their dealings. Whereas devotees, they do austerities. Their austerity is preaching, meeting people. I remember Radhanath Maharaj saying, everybody's got their austerity, and the austerity of the brahmachari is that they have to live with others. You have to tolerate living close quarters with others, so many, 50 people, right? And when you go on yatra now, 12,000 people, right? So forgiveness, the austerity of a devotee is to be able to forgive. Although a Vaishnava has sufficient power in tapasya, he does not become angry when put into difficulty. If one undergoes tapasya but does not become a Vaishnava, however, one does not develop good qualities. So what's the use of all our tapasya if finally we don't develop good qualities? I was very sorry to find out that, the aim of all our sadhana, everything is to develop good qualities. I said, this should be natural, right? Isn't it? So much sadhana only to develop what? Titikshava, Karunika, Surida, Sarvadi. This is natural, right? So meaning no entry for us in the spiritual world. You go there, suddenly something happens, you feel envious, right? You look, Krishna is doing something, or some Gopal is doing, or some Gopi is doing something, right? You feel envious. And somebody says something, you become angry. No entry, right? Isn't it? No entry. For example, Hiranyakashipu and Ravan also performed great austerities, but they did so to demonstrate their demoniac tendencies. So, before I read Prabhupada's books, I thought tapasya means Krishna consciousness. I didn't know that tapasya means so many different things. Vaishnavas must meet many opponents while preaching the glories of the Lord. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that they not become angry while preaching. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this formula: Trinadapi sunichena taroriva suheshana amanena mandena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Those engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord should be humbler than grass and more tolerant than a tree. Then they can preach the glories of the Lord without a difficulty. Otherwise, say, no, I'm not going to go on book distribution. People are so rude. Right? No, I'm not going to do. Right? So here, Prabhupada is saying that our tapasya is preaching, and how to overcome the austerity of preaching by being humble and forgiving. It's okay. They don't know, right? We don't know. Of course, it's easier to forgive others than to forgive our own devotees, right? Text 6. Tabhyam nirdahayamanastahan upalabhya kurudah dvaha mahan somo manyum prashamayaniva. My dear King Parikshit, when Som, the king of the trees and predominating deity of the moon, saw the fire and wind burning all the trees to ashes, he felt great sympathy because he is the maintainer of all herbs and trees. To appease the anger of the Pracheta, Som spoke as follows. Purport. It is understood from this verse that the predominating deity of the moon is the maintainer of all the trees and plants throughout the universe. All right. So now we've got more information that all vegetation, everything is coming from the moon. It is due to the moonshine that trees and plants grow very luxuriantly. Therefore, how can we accept the so-called scientists whose moon expedition have informed us that there are no trees or vegetation on the moon? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Somo vrikshadhisthata sa eva vrikshanam raja. Soma. The predominating deity of the moon is the king of all vegetation. How can we believe that the maintainer vegetarian has no vegetation on his own planet? Like the sun is, is blazing fire, right? The bodies of the inhabitants of the sun is made of fire, right?
But Mataji, without the sunshine, also the trees and the
Sorry?
plants, though. Without the sunshine, too, the trees and the plants don't
Yes, but moon now, what we are reading now, we have to go our whole research, okay? Ayurveda, they will know all this, right? But moon is in charge of vegetation and moon is putting in the som, remember som? Somras,
survive.
right? From where is that meaning? That's what? Somras, right? So, anyway, when I read all this, I started thinking of our cooking class. During our cooking class, we teach all this. Now we have to add this also. More information Prabhupada has given. Yeah, I mean, that's why those who take our course, they're so happy. They're so happy. They learn so many things. They become aware because they're taught nothing at school. They're taught only what scientists teach them, right? So they're taught nothing. 7. Nadrumebhyo mahabhaga dinebhyo drogtumarhatha vishwadhaishavo yuyam prajanam patahya smritaha. Oh, greatly fortunate ones, you should not kill these poor trees by burning them to ashes. Your duty is to wish the citizens Praja all prosperity and to act as the protectors. It is indicated herein that the government or king has the duty of protecting not only the human beings but all other living entities, including animals, trees, and plants. No living entity should be killed unnecessarily. It's little shameful, right? You come out from your college, right? Your university, so you come out, you start doing, heinous activity, right? And you have to, the deva has to come and say, stop, beta, stop. What are you doing? Right? So proud. Kids, when they come out from their education, right? They know better more than anybody else, right? And they show all their power. This is what I have learned. Is it true? I don't know. Those who have children from university, they know what's going on, right? They know more than you. And then the devas take this soothing words, right? Either Shanidev comes and put a stick, right? Or more mild. Soma, what will he do? You just find out what he will do now. Text 8. Aho prajapati patir bhagavan harir avyayah vanaspatim oshadhischa sasara jorjam isha vibhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, is the master of all living entities, including all the Prajapati. Now, meaning that these boys, they're Prajapati, they would be Prajapati, right? But don't forget who's above you. The Supreme Lord is above you, right? So, including all the Prajapatis, such as Lord Brahma, because he is the all-pervading and indestructible master, he has created all these trees and vegetables as eatables for other living entities. You know, it's like we're focused on our own work. And now, such Buddhu they are, you know, he said you're doing something that will destroy your own subjects. It's amazing. It's amazing, right? Would you think that the Prachetas who have heard the song of Lord Shiva, right, who glorified Vasudeva, so it's very difficult to become devotees. To be devotees meaning who's conscious of others, of everyone, right? So they came out like big guns, you know, I am. So my father's kingdom has been overrun with, you know, trees, so I should just burn them without thinking twice. Strategic planning, right? Without thinking, you know, it's just a burst of energy. Because they got so much mystic power. It burst out. Amazing. You know, I have studied this, but I never saw it this way. I actually studied this in our Bhakti Vaibhav course. You know, we read all this. But now, like, life has changed, right? Our eyes are seeing more experience of the world. So here we are. We're seeing what's going on. Yeah, so because he's the all-pervading and indestructible master, he has created all these trees and vegetables as eatables for other living beings. Purport. Soma, the predominating deity of the moon, reminded the Prachitas that this vegetation has been created by the Lord of Lords to provide food for everyone. If the Prachetas try to kill them off, their own subjects will also suffer, for trees are also required for food. Right? We just remember, right, when all this tariff story was going on. Everybody shouting, you are going to punish your own people. Right? So we can see someone who is powerful, what he's doing. So this trend is there with everyone. They just want to show their power. Okay? And Soma, so somebody superior has to come and say, knock, knock, knock. Beware. Your own subject will suffer, because if you burn down everything, what will they eat? You have to follow the laws of the Supreme Ishvara. Amazing. Practical life. Text 9. Anam charanam acharha yopada yapada padacharinam ahasta hasta yuktanam dripadam cha chatushpadaha. Now listen to this, and I hope you're going to teach this to your children. Because I learned something in school, right? Food chain. And now here, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 4, Text 9, the food chain is given. What is food for who? Jivo jivasya jivanam. We have read in first canto, right? By nature's arrangement. Anam, chara anam, of those that move of wings. Achara, the non-moving fruits and flowers. By nature's arrangement, this is the system, the ecosystem. Fruits and flowers are considered the food of insects and birds. All right? Like honey is in the flowers, right? and the insect, they remove the honey. I hope human beings don't eat the insects, right? Crazy people, right? They don't go and eat the insects. But now I heard with all our mobile phone and all that, they're actually derailing the insects. So this is how we create disturbance in the ecosystem. We demolish the ecology. Ecology means nature's arrangement. Grass and other legless living entities are meant to be food for four-legged animals like cows and buffalo. Animals that cannot use their front legs as hands are meant to be food for animals like tigers, which have claws. And four-legged animals like deer and goats, as well as food grains, are meant to be the food of human beings. All right, now Prabhupada is going to explain all this. By nature's law or the arrangement of the Supreme Person of Godhead, one kind of living entity is eatable by other living entities. So people say, why you say vegetarian, but you're also eating this, right? Now Prabhupada is explaining that you have to eat life, something living. But there is what is allowed, what is not allowed. So that's why you find the cows, they are herbivorous, right? They're eating grass. So the four-legged animal Chatushpadaha, as well as food grains, are eatables for human beings, Dvipadam. So meaning human beings, so they are animals, but they are Dvipadam. These four-legged animals are those such as deer and goats, not cows, which are meant to be protected. So what is allowed for human beings to eat is deer, goat, or insignificant animal, but never the cows. All right. Now, among human beings also, who eat these animals? Prabhupada explained. Generally, the men of the higher classes of society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, do not eat meat. All right? So, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, they don't eat meat. Sometimes Kshatriyas go to the forest to kill animals like deer because they have to learn the art of killing. And sometimes they eat the animals also. Shudras too eat animals such as goats. Cows, however, are never meant to be killed or eaten by human beings. In every Shastra, cow killing is vehemently condemned. Indeed, one who kills a cow must suffer for as many years as there are hairs on the body of a cow. Manu Samhita says, Pravritir Esha Bhutanam Nivrittistu Maha Phala. We have many tendencies in this material world, but in human life, one is meant to learn how to curb those tendencies. Those who desire to eat meat may satisfy the demands of their tongues by eating lower animals, but they should never kill cows, who are actually accepted as the mothers of human society because they supply milk. So on that basis, that this is mother, the Shastras specially recommend Krishi Go Raksha. The Vaishnava section of humanity should arrange for food for the entire society through agricultural activities and through giving full protection to the cows, which are the most useful animals because they supply milk to humanity. So if we find that now people are more and more eating meat, what does that mean? Shudras. The population of Shudras are increasing, so those who say they are Brahmana, right?
But
Like this.
Brahmanas are also eating meat. So that means gradually they have more tendencies of Shudra than
So they are Shudras actually. A Brahmana will never eat meat. Vaishyas also, who is among the lowest among the three, they will not eat meat. Right? We should know how society is divided. So only a handful of Brahmanas, very few, the intellectual class. Then you have little more of the Kshatriyas. Then you have a larger section of the Vaishyas. Then you have the bottom, it is large in Kali Yuga. All right? From bottom it's coming down. Right? Brahmanas are becoming Shudras. Text 10. Yuyam cha pitran vadishtah devadevena cha nagha praja sargaya hi katham vrikshan nirdagdhum arhatha. I'm just racing through this very fast because actually there is so much. I mean, I'm not discussing here because it is a mature group, but all this, you can have a whole seminar on all this, right? Teach all the children, right? These are topical subjects, environment. My God, we're so ignorant, right? We don't read Prabhupada's books. We don't read Shastra, right? Only 4 of us are sitting here, right? We don't read, so we don't know. We remain ignorant. O pure-hearted ones, your father Prachina Barhi and the Supreme Person Godhead have ordered you to generate population. Therefore, how can you burn to usher these trees and herbs which are needed for the maintenance of your subjects and descendants? Meaning, it's like they call it burn head, right? You don't even look left or right. You just see something in front of you, boom, right? You didn't think, what's the order of your father, right? Your father said, produce children, what will they eat? Right? What will they eat? It's just the immediate problem and they just blast it. Just blast it, no brain. They're Kshatriyas, right? So Kshatriyas have to be guided. So the moon god came running, put some brain in their fiery brain, right? Atishtata sataham margam kopam yachata deepitam pitra pitamahenapi jushtam vaha pratipitamahe. Now, how to control anger? This is the formula here. How to control anger. The path of goodness traversed by your father, grandfather, and great-grandfathers is that of maintaining the subjects, prajas, including the men, animals, and trees. That is the path you should follow. Unnecessary anger is contrary to your duty. Therefore, I request you to control your anger. All right? What an instruction. What an instruction. Control your anger because you are creating havoc for your own duty. So Kshatriyas cannot be left alone, right? For that matter, nobody, right? Even the Brahmanas, they need to have groups, right? They need to have groups who will monitor. So we have Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, right? Now, here the words Pitra, Pitamahena, Pijushtam va, Pratpitamaha depict an honest royal family consisting of the kings, their father, their grandfather, their great-grandfathers. So this is their lineage. This is their lineage. And you have to be true to your lineage. Such a royal family has a prestigious position, okay? Prestige, meaning they're not people who have no reputation, right? When you read the history, you only criticize, blaspheme, whatever you do, right? When you hear what atrocities so-called kings have done. Whereas a king actually has a prestigious position, all right? You have to keep the prestige of your family. And what is their prestige? Their prestige is that they maintain the praja. The word praja refers to one who has taken birth within the jurisdiction of the government. The exalted royal families were conscious that all living entities, whether human being, animal or lower than animals, should be given protection. The modern democratic system cannot be exalted in this way because the leaders elected strive only for power and have no sense of responsibility. In a monarchy, a king with a prestigious position follows the great deeds of his forefathers. Thus, Soma, the king of the moon, here reminds the Prachetas about the glories of their father, grandfather, and great grandfather. Now, who are the protectors? We'll complete with this. Tokanam pitaro bandhu drisha pakshma striya patihi pati prajanam bhikshunam grihya jnanam buddha surit. Now listen, who are the protectors? As the father and mother are the friends and maintainers of the children. So fathers and mothers, their duty is to protect their children. They are friends to their children and they are their maintainer. As the eyelid is the protector of the eye. What an example. The eyelid is the protector of the eye. Drishya Pakshma. As the husband is the maintainer and protector of a woman. Alright? Striya Patihi. So what is the meaning of Patihi is defined here. He is the maintainer and protector of a woman. As the householder is the maintainer and protector of beggars. Patihi Prajanam Bhikshunam. And as the learned is the friend of the ignorant. Agyanam Buddha Suhrit. So the king is the protector and giver of life to all his subjects. The trees are also subjects of the king, therefore they should be given protection. Now Prabhupada explained. By the supreme will of this personal Godhead, there are various protectors and maintainers for helpless living entities. Now remember, the elderly are also helpless. Don't forget that. The trees are also considered prajas, subjects of the king, and therefore the duty of the monarch is to protect even the trees, not to speak of others. The king is duty bound to protect the living entities in his kingdom. Thus, although the parents are directly responsible for the protection and maintenance of their children, the duty of the king is to see that all parents do their duty properly. All right? So meaning if you open schools, right? Or whatever you do, whatever you do for the finally that's why everything goes back to the government. Parents, they're taking immediate care, but parents are dependent on the king or the government, right? So if you don't make proper arrangement, right, then that's why everybody points always to the king. As soon as there is any anomaly here and there, immediately we think of the kings. What are they doing? Right? Similarly, the king is also responsible for overseeing the other protectors mentioned in this verse. It may also be noted that the beggars should be maintained by the householders, are not professional beggars, but they are sannyasis and brahmanas to whom the householders should supply food and clothing. Yeah. Yes. Okay, I think we'll stop here. All right. 1:15. My God, so instructive, right? Day-to-day life. Whose duty is what? Whose duty is what? And and this one, the agya, agyanam buddha, meaning those Where is it? Agyanam Buddha. Where is it? Yeah, the learned. Huh? The learned is the friend of the ignorant. All right? So if we are getting so much knowledge now, right? When you are giving this knowledge to somebody, what you are doing? What you are doing?
You become friend.
You're protecting. You're a protector. This list of protectors here. Agyanam Buddha Suhrit. Right? You're protecting somebody from doing
Wrong.
great mistakes. Great mistakes. So if we are not great speakers, then we can give out the books, right? Right? Prabhupada told us, how much preaching can you do? How much can you convince people? Right? But you give the books. All right, so book marathon is on.
Mataji, these books also need heavy guidance.
So that's why you are there. That you are learning to teach, right?
This under the guidance is the best.
Agyanam Buddha Suhrit. It's amazing. I mean, I thought we will, we will complete, half the chapter and we are sitting with 12 verses.
No, that's great. 12 verses. And all of them were very meaningful.
Yeah.
Realized verses.
Yeah, we look out for where the gas comes from.
Yeah, because one leads to another.
Where the gas comes from. Everybody is opening their, gas bulb and cooking, right? Oh, rickshaw, right? Where it's coming from. How dangerous it is the day you have no oil, the day your shores are conquered. You'll die inside. Understand? We are not self-sufficient.
Yeah, because it's a natural resource. Crude oil is a natural resource. आप drill करके निकालते जाएंगे. One time your natural resource becomes empty.
Well,
Then what?
that's why there's tsunami. That's why there's tsunami. We are creating imbalance. Now I know why. We are creating imbalance. Those volcanic eruptions, right?
Yeah, some of the other way.
Yes. We are disturbing those, nature, yeah. And, like I saw this video of how they're connecting, they're connecting two countries. Like there is just a gap. The Supreme Lord has made nature in such a way that between two countries there's a gap. So everywhere they have put, bridges, right? And this is one of the causes of so much disturbance. Instead of obeying, our own area, no, we have to cross over. And meaning that, okay, if you take a boat to circumvent or you're satisfied with whatever, we are not satisfied with what we have.
That's a shortcut. The bridge will be a shortcut rather than going all the way.
Yeah. You remember King Priyavrat? I think that was him, right? Who created all those boundaries, right?
That the 7, he took his horse and made.
Yeah, and he made mountains, he created lakes, he created oceans, rivers. What for? So that you stay in your own area. But we are trying to cross. Therefore, there is big mess. Ecological imbalance. Okay, thank you very much.